before we get into the meat and potatoes of this video, a couple of things. It's going to look a little dark and the sound's not going to be great, but bear with us because Chris only barely knows what we're doing here. So, by the way, it's Chris Ruli, 32nd degree KCCH historian, all that stuff. I'll put it on screen.
If we break something, at least
we're not breaking. Just relax.
All right. Okay.
So, about a month and a half ago, Larissa Watkins, our wonderful librarian here at the House of the Temple, came to me in that Larissa way. She says, Maynard, I need to show you something.
Of course.
You know, and you know exactly what I mean. And she does not want to be on camera at all. No chance, and I wasn't going to force her.
Fair enough.
But she came and she showed me what's behind this door. Now, this is one of the climate-controlled archives at the House of the Temple. And in here are some of our most rare books and all those kinds of things, which is cool.
Book collections.
Yeah, and it's a neat collection, and you know, maybe one day we'll go through some of it. But what she found in here and was able to kind of put in one place is even more interesting to somebody like me, and I think it's going to be interesting to you. Old media besides books.
Sure.
So we've got reel tapes, phonograph records. We've got we've got VHS, if anybody remembers those antiques. We've got actual film, like movie film in here. So I want to take a look at this and grab something and take it upstairs and maybe give one a play for the first time in God knows how many decades, just for the heck of it.
Awesome.
Let's do it. All right, so Olivia has been kind enough to open the door for us. She's one of our museum curators, so we'll follow it. Now the noise in here is going to be, obviously this is where some of the life support systems in the building are. But and here, if you look here, you see some projects ongoing to clean and work on artifacts. That's a sneak peek. And then back here, check this out. So these are all sorts of old media. I mean, the VHS tapes and these are old TV tapes that would have been used at a television station. So things that we came away with. But the things that are of most interest to me, I think, are reel-to-reel tapes. I mean, this says 1954 is this. Then we've got a bunch of records. And again, no one's listened to or played these in God knows how long. Well, that's scary.
FBI March.
It says FBI.
It's their
FBI
official
March.
It's the official march of the...
Get the heck out of here. Well, I've got a phonograph up in my office.
I think we'd have to do that.
I don't think we have any choice but to listen to that. What's this one?
Yeah.
A tribute to J. Edgar Hoover, 1947, broadcast from Know Your America.
Know Your America.
You know, for a short time here at the House of the Temple, actually for a long time, J. Edgar Hoover's FBI office was basically recreated and on display. So his actual desk and a lot of the artifacts from his office were here. I wonder if these are like his records that they brought over with them, and now they've ended up in our collection.
And Hoover was a D.C. Mason, member of Federal Lodge.
33rd degree.
Yep.
What's this one say? So let's see what we got here, and we'll go up and check out some of this old media. Oh, another one, FBI. Look at that. Subject, G-Man Hoover. Gerald Clark and his orchestra. So this is a song someone wrote about J. Edgar Hoover. But, all right, so we've got a reel-to-reel tape. Let's grab one more just for the heck of it. I'll be random here. Which one looks old? I mean, besides all of them. What's that? Recorded for Luther A. Smith. He was a past Grand Commander. Salem, North Carolina. Visitation to Winston-Salem, 1963.
Cool. All right,
let's take it up. What the heck?
Nice.
All right. And now, through the magic of modern convenience, we're going to teleport instantly from the archive to my office. There. And just like that, we're in the office. All right, that was
great. No, keep that in the video. Keep that in the video.
So let's start with these records. And I obviously we can't do everything. This is the one that I think is the coolest just by. So that one is, read the label.
FBI March, a private recording by the United States Marine Corps Orchestra.
Cool. And
I can certainly-
that is a private recording that was made for J. Edgar Hoover. And God knows when the last time a needle has been on that record. This record says very clearly on it, Federal Bureau of Investigation. Make sure we get a shot of that. And U.S. Department of Justice. So these were Hoover's records that were on loan to the House of the Temple, and I guess just through the many years, they're here now. And this other one, and this 78. So this is not vinyl. This is I think this is acetate, and these are 78s, which means there's not a lot of room on each side. So these are probably only about 15 minutes.
Yeah,
long
there is
each.
78s. It even says on the cover here.
And this one is a broadcast, a tribute to J. Edgar Hoover, also from the FBI files. So what I'm guessing is when he appeared on radio shows, when he appeared on TV programs and things, they would give him a copy,
Sure.
or a copy would be made. It looks like these were made on a lathe, because you can see here's the punch outs on the back where the disc would be held in place as the needle basically carved the sound into it. So I think we got to listen to this march.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Did you know the FBI had a march?
No, I've heard them march into complexes and places before, but not with music accompaniment.
If you look at the back of this record here, so here you can see
That is very interesting. I didn't
the
know
grooves
that.
are carved into it, and that's the sound, obviously. And this would have been so someone at the Justice Department, the FBI, wherever this was recorded,
Or
they had a
Marine band.
Yeah, they had a big lathe that basically cut these grooves into it. So this is not, so I have no idea how this is, but this would have been what the blank looks like. And then
And it's in very good condition.
Yeah.
It's in very good condition.
Well, see, that's the thing about records is short of physical damage, this is not going to deteriorate. So unless you run something across it and scratch the grooves,
Right.
this can sit on a shelf virtually forever. I'm a little more worried, I'll be honest with you, about those reel-to-reel tapes. I dealt with reel-to-reel tapes for many years in the early part of my career because they were used up until the early 2000s by radio and TV stations.
Wow.
And they, those do deteriorate after 15 or 20 years. You start to hear ghost images and things like that, or ghost sounds on them. So I'm not sure what we'll get off of those, but this, short of any physical damage that has undergone. So let's see what, let's make sure the speed is at 78, and put the needle on the old record. All right, now here, and we have, this is legit. We have not listened to this. That's the tuner.
Oh, it's not in.
No, so
It's not down yet.
not yet. So we have not listened to any of this. I'm gonna make sure I got it on the right. Talk about taking me back to the early part of my radio career. Here we go. Nope, missed.
What
Gotta
career
do
was that?
There you go. Yeah, that's why I'm not in radio anymore.
News on the march.
This is exactly what I thought it would sound like. I mean, it's a pretty typical march. This is exactly what you'd expect.
The cover of it just says Director Hoover.
Wow.
Doesn't even say if it just says Director Hoover. So
This
certainly
belonged.
copies were made.
This belonged to J. Edgar
Absolutely, that was likely in his either personal or his office professional file.
Yeah, and let's be clear, the records that we have here, just at a glance, there's no state secrets on any of this. This is all
Right.
they're interviews that Hoover did publicly and things of that nature.
Right.
What if you played it in reverse?
I'm not going to do that. Man, that would actually damage playing it. Our cameraman, Brother Bowers, off screen has said, "What if we played it in reverse?" And first, that would damage the record, and secondly, I don't want to. Just let's not give the trolls any food.
Nope.
So, all right. Well, let's. That's one old media recording that hasn't been heard, and we can't even tell you how long. But many decades.
It's
Hoover died what, early 70s?
Yeah. So it's a good march.
At least 50 years since anyone has played this particular record.
Yeah.
So that's very cool. All right, let's. You want to break out the reel-to-reel player?
Sure.
Cool. All right, we'll be right back. Reel-to-reel tape was used well up into, like I said, in the early 2000s when audio editing really became.
Look at that. Don't mess it up.
Nah.
I will say this is just also a beautiful piece of machinery.
Yeah, I actually
visually.
I bought this from a guy online for like $100.
It's great.
And so
you purchased something off eBay?
I did. So this is a consumer machine. So the reason that's important is that there are different speeds at which you can record. The higher the speed, the higher the quality of the recording.
Sure.
This one is a consumer grade, so it doesn't do some of the faster speeds. They just didn't. They had to make some cuts to make them affordable for people, and now recording tape like this is not made anymore. But the consumer grade ones don't. So sometimes when you just as a forewarning, sometimes when you turn these on,
they exploded.
No. It'll be like boom. So that's okay. I can still pull this off of here and digitally speed it up so that we could hear it, but
cool.
It would mean we'd have to run it all the way through, record it, and then so let's hope that what we get on here is what we expect. So let's go ahead and play this antique.
This is a complete recording of the ceremonies at the funeral of past Grand Commander John H. Cole.
Wow.
Very cool.
Which took place in the council chamber of the House of the Temple, Washington, D.C., Tuesday, June 22nd, 1954, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The next voice you will hear is that of Sovereign Grand Commander Thomas J. Harkins, presiding in the East.
Wow. But hold on.
Let's take a pause there.
I need to say,
pause. Yeah.
When you find an unearthed recording,
right.
This is exactly what you want to find at the beginning of it, is that voice going, the next sound you will hear are the aliens landing on. This is cool.
Yeah.
Have you heard or seen a transcript of Cole's funeral?
No, I have not. And in fact, in the proceedings for the Scottish Rite for that year, it's very referenced very minimally. So there's no proceeding, there's no full transcript. So we're actually listening to it seems like we're listening to the full transcript.
Let's just hear a little bit. So here's what this is. My guess is that this is 3.5, this is 3 3/4 inches per second for all you tech nerds out there. So that means this is probably about an hour's worth of tape on here.
Okay.
So that would
make sense.
That would make sense. That's about the right length for a funeral. Obviously, much too long for YouTube. So what I think we might want to do is you and I get some good microphones and a digital version of this and listen to it as part of the podcast. That way people can listen to it. So we'll have to do that separately at a later time. But for now, let's just hear again. This hasn't been heard since 1954. And for some context, John Henry Coles is the Grand Commander who is interred here at the House of the Temple alongside Albert Pike. And he lived here, he died here, and he is buried here.
He is absolutely one of the most consequential Grand Commanders. He was a Grand Commander during World War II, so he was a very prominent figure in Scottish Rite Freemasonry.
Freemasonry in the whole country.
He absolutely was the steward of Freemasonry during a period when the Scottish Rite really, sort of the golden age of the Scottish Rite, right after the turn of the 20th century. So
there have been many other Grand Commanders, and only one of them is buried here. So that should tell you something.
Two over here.
Well, Al Pike, but Coles lived here. That whole section of the building is still known as the Grand Commander's apartment.
Right.
So all right, well, let's hear a little of his funeral service again, having not been heard.
And before you do that, what the transactions do note, and we'll probably learn more about this as we go through it, but that there were 2 services that day. So there was the memorial service, which we'll probably hear beginning, and then there was a Scottish Rite Rose Quarry service after the
Wow.
funeral service. So there were 2 events that happened at the same day for the Grand Commander.
All right, so here's some more lost media.
Brethren, friends,
Countrymen.
it is with saddened hearts and drooping spirits that we assemble this afternoon here in the house of the temple
Wow. You can sort of tell that he's speaking away from the mic
Yeah.
at certain points. It's
to
getting loud
conduct
outside.
the funeral services of our beloved past Sovereign Grand Commander John H. Coles.
Wow. So here's what we're going to do. We will take this recording and I will fully digitize it so that we can listen to it. We'll give it a listen, and then we'll sit down and put it out for people to listen to and for us to discuss. I think that's the best way to handle that. But how cool is it to have these things preserved and that we can bring this out? I'm honestly shocked at the quality of this recording after, I mean, it was recorded in 1954. It's, I'm hoping, I'm guessing it must have been stored correctly. It was down in the temperature controlled vault, so
sure.
it's okay. So I don't hear a whole lot of artifacts or terrible
It doesn't look like it's degraded. I mean, it's in very good condition.
So that's excellent news in terms of the other recordings that are down there, that they may still be available to us. And we learned today that there's an FBI march. So we'll have to check out some more tapes and make this sort of lost media an ongoing series.
It's a great
here
idea.
and then check it out. But in the meantime, just for the kids who like to watch old things do what they do, this is at the end of every session you had to rewind. It's like waiting, it's like going to Blockbuster on a Saturday morning after you have the Friday. You have to rewind it before you take it back.
What's Blockbuster?
Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time here on the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. I'm Maynard. That's Chris Ruli. We'll see you next time.